Hey guys, welcome to this episode of Talkin' Tiny. I'm Jen. I am the owner and creator behind Teacup Tiny Homes, and today I'm going to talk to you about where we can park these things. One of the questions that I get asked probably the most really is, so where are people parking these things? It's usually by people that have done no research, don't really know much about the tiny home movement, but we also get asked from people a lot who have invested a lot of time researching where can I park my tiny home. And this is one of the things that needs to be considered when going tiny. It's not as easy as just basically driving to a home builder and picking a lot in a city and being able to plunk your tiny home down there. There are a lot of different things that you need to consider. Today I have 5 great points that are going to help you in trying to find a great place to park. They are out there. It takes some time, it takes some energy, it takes some work to find these locations, but guys, don't let it hold you up. If you truly want to go tiny and it is just a life that you want to live, then believe me, you are going to find an option. Where there is a will, there is a way. And today I have some great ideas for where you will be able to park. So, disclaimer here, or disclosure, basically whatever you do have to make sure that you're checking with the right people and making sure that it's okay. So you can't just pull up and park and stay there. So make sure that you do your own due diligence, depending on the municipality you're in, the county you're in, wherever it might be. Make sure that you're taking the right steps in order to make sure that you have a place that that is right for you and that everyone is on the same page as far as terms and agreements. Okay, so that is the first thing. That's the first little disclosure there. So let's see. Number one, the probably number one question I get asked, mostly from those who haven't done a ton of research, is, so can I just park this in my backyard? And the answer is no, you don't want to be parking in the backyard in a city. You will probably be going against some sort of bylaw. There's a likelihood that you could be fined or asked to move. You probably cannot park in a driveway for any long period of time. Someone will likely be knocking on the door and asking you what's going on. So you don't really want to be doing that either. So number one thing is cities and municipalities, they have bylaws that basically, well, obviously it's for reasons to keep the community so that the right things are happening. We have to look at property values. We have to look at what the neighbors think. We have to look at taxes. And these bylaws are in place really to protect neighborhoods from any disorderly conduct, anything that's going on that is kind of against the grain that the people in the community or in that area won't really want happening. So just think of it this way. The bylaws are not bad, and oftentimes bylaws can be amended, but it's better to work with municipalities than against them in these circumstances. And you just don't want to be pulling up a tiny home in a backyard, because your neighbors, for starters, they don't want to be looking out, say, a kitchen window and looking at the side of a tiny home all the time, or whatever else. There's some other things to think about too, because technically a tiny home would be considered a secondary suite. So we talk about something called density in urban planning and urban development, and the density, that is basically how many people can live, how dense the population can be in these certain areas. So there's things with, if there gets to be too many people in a certain area, then there's going to be more use of the sewer system, more use of the water, more use of the roads and that sort of thing. And there are certain limitations on how much that can actually take. One extra family or one extra person isn't really going to put that much pressure on this, but these are some of the things that the cities and municipalities do consider when they're planning master plan communities. So you don't really want to just be pulling in and saying, whatever, I'm going to do what I want. That's really not a great way to go about getting a place to park your tiny home. Okay, so number one today is, you cannot just park and pull up in your backyard or in your driveway and start living out of your tiny home. Okay, don't do that. It's probably not a good thing. That's number one. So number two, a really great place to find some opportunities of where you can park your tiny home is go to something like your Kijiji or Marketplace on Facebook or Craigslist or something like that, and post an ad. Say, hey, ISO, in search of, ISO land to park a tiny home, in search of property to rent for tiny home or something like that. You never know what you're going to get back. And there might be opportunities just waiting for you there. Someone might be just scrolling along wherever it is, and the perfect opportunity will come up. So that is an option too. Again, you can be browsing those ads as well where people have land for rent or space to rent, maybe a farm hand or a hired hand or something like that, where people are looking for help on an acreage or something like that. That might be the perfect opportunity where you can get in, contact them, and maybe that's exactly what they'll be looking for, is someone to help out with their property, and hey, maybe park a tiny home there. It's hard to say. So that would be an option. Start doing your research, start looking at some of these places as well. Go through, just like look, research. You never know when something's going to come up, and it might be the perfect option for you. Okay, so that's number 2, Kijiji, Marketplace. Post an ad and just see what'll come back. Start throwing things out there. See what spaghetti is going to stick to the wall, right? That's a great way to start. The third thing, smaller towns and villages. So a lot of the small towns and villages that are kind of dying out, or maybe they haven't had new people come into the community for quite some time, they're looking at ways that they can maybe sell off some of the lots or attract new people to their neighborhood so that really they don't become a ghost town. So that is an option. I know a lot of you say that you don't want to live in a rural community and you'd rather be in a city center, but if tiny life is truly right for you, and if it is really what you want to be doing and your calling and what you believe your life will be best at, like I said, where there's a will, there's a way, and you will be able to find an opportunity. So it's just a matter of looking and compromising, and if you truly want to live a tiny life, then maybe that's going to have to be your best option. It's living in a county or a small town or a village. So living in these small towns and villages, there are tiny homes that are being approved. A lot of the time you'll have to find a lot, submit a development proposal, talk to the town council or the village council, and basically you might have to apply for a variance to see if it can be accepted on one of those lots there. A lot of the time you want to be calling them, the administration, you want to be in good conversation with them about what your plans are. A lot of the time you can't submit a development proposal unless you yourself own that property. But again, having a lot of those conversations in the background is going to be really important. It comes down to using the right verbiage and that sort of thing when you submit that proposal. So if you do have a builder or someone that you're working with, they should be able to help you out with a lot of that and lead you through. Again, finding a location, it doesn't need to be the first thing that you do. I would say have someone that can help you through it, and a professional, of course. I would say find a builder. That builder should be able to help you facilitate, as long as you have some ideas and you're really willing to put in the work to find this location. Commit yourself, and the answers will come, right? So that's number 3, small towns and villages. Number 4 that I want to talk to you today is RV parks or mobile home parks, so that sort of thing. I have a ton of people that say, I don't want to live in a mobile home park. Well, do you want to continue to pay $2,000 a month in utilities or rent or whatever else? Again, compromises are going to have to happen. So mobile home parks and RV parks, we talk about anything that's not fixed to the land as a chattel. So a chattel, basically a fixture. Your standard home is fixed to the ground it comes on. So anything that stays on the wheels, for example, or is movable becomes a chattel. So what you could look for is an RV park, of course. You could be paying something like $500 to $800 a month to rent there. But again, if you're renting a larger home conventionally, then you could be looking at paying $1,700 a month plus for that space as well. So it's something to consider and really look at the dollars and cents and break it down and see if you will be further ahead. And of course, don't forget that it's so much more than just the dollar value of what you're paying when you go tiny. It's about clearing your headspace. It's about clearing your life, minimalizing the things you have to worry about, and getting outdoors, all those things. I don't have to tell you. If you're here watching this, you probably know about all the benefits about going tiny. So the fourth point is RV parks, or even park model home parks, something like that, and mobile home parks. And those are usually within your larger urban centers or on the outskirts. There was probably one developed in the 70s or something like that that you might be able to get into and have an opportunity there. So that was number 4. Number 5 is if you want to live seasonally in your tiny home, there are a lot of options there. And again, these are just ideas that you can start researching. You'll have to do your own background checking and work on these. But again, they're just so that you can kind of get the ideas rolling around in your head. So seasonal living, you could look at campgrounds, of course. Again, RV parks. There are some great places, little resort communities in, let's say, the Rocky Mountains or the Kootenays. Many of them have reached out to me personally and said, hey, if you have anybody looking for a place to park, and once in the Rockies or in the Kootenays, this is what we do. This is what we have. We would love to see tiny homes here. So there are definitely properties available there. You could find a piece of land to park on, maybe look into lease land where you can pull up, maybe you have a temporary permit. That's another option too, where you have a permit for 5 years and then you have to move it. But that is a really great way as well. Seasonal living, especially if you're certified as an RV or a park model, that's going to be one of the easier routes to go, to be quite honest. So that's 5 points there. I'll just recap quickly. And yes, I do have my notes to the side because I don't want to miss them. Don't want to miss any. But the first point was, no, you cannot park in your backyard or in your driveway and just start living in your tiny home or renting it out. That's a big no-no. Number 2 is check Kijiji, check your Facebook Marketplace or Craigslist or something like that and see what's out there. Just start doing research and throwing out emails to all the possibilities. You never know what you're going to get back. Number 3 is smaller towns, small villages, and even counties, I guess, for example. A lot of the times they're looking for new people to come into their community, and this might be a great way for them to attract new people. Number 4, RV parks or mobile home parks. Usually you could find 1 or 2 of those around a city, and there's some great places, guys, honestly. Like I don't know if there's a stigma around it or whatever else, but yeah, there are some great opportunities in RV parks, so something to check out for. And then, of course, if you're looking at seasonal living, again, you could look at park model, resort communities, and that sort of thing, maybe some lease land, and seasonal or recreation areas, campgrounds, that sort of thing. Maybe you can get an awesome lot that overlooks a lake with tons of trees and the birds chirping in the background. Doesn't that sound delightful? Seasonal living, that is going to be a great opportunity as well. So those are the 5 points just off the top of my head. If you do really, really want to go tiny, guys, this is all I have to say is it's going to be work. You're going to have to put work into it. It won't just be handed to you on a silver platter, but it's going to be worth it. So don't let that stop you. Tiny homes are being approved legally to be lived in full time all across North America. You just kind of have to do the dirty work and figure out what's going to work best for you, your family, and your life. So with all that being said, if you are ready to build your tiny home, of course, we're Teacup Tiny Homes. Send us an email, info@teacuptinyhomes.com. Check out our Facebook, our Instagram, and let's see, YouTube channel. What else? Oh, of course, our website. We have a great frequently asked questions page on our website. That's teacuptinyhomes.com. Once again, I'm Jen. I hope you enjoyed today's little broadcast, and hopefully we'll see you again soon. Take care, everybody. Bye.